Eto na tayo, investment in associate. Sa investment in associate class, this is referring to your equity securities. Natatandaan mo, nung nasa una, check natin kung naka-flash. Wala eh. Ito to. Natatandaan mo to nung pinag-usapan natin last time. Sabi natin, ownership interest that we are talking here is the ownership interest related to the ordinary shares. Okay. If the ownership is less than 20%, you will classify the investment at fair value through profit or loss, or FVOCI. However, if that is at least 20 to 50%, that should be properly accounted under investment in associate. Yan yung pinag-uusapan natin ngayon. Okay. So, ito yun. Less than 20%, that is FBPL, FBOCI. At least 20 to 50%, there is now the presumption of significant influence that should be properly classified as investment in associate. And if that is more than 50%, there is now the presumption of control. So that would now be investment in subsidiary that will be governed by PFRS 3 and PFRS 10. Okay? Paano ko ba ito ipapaliwanag in a layman's term? Ganito yan, klase. Kapag kasi meron kang significant influence, pwede ka na makasama sa policy making process ni investee. Siguro, as an analogy class, imaginein mo na lang. Halimbawa, bago kotse mo. Yan, bago kotse mo. Ikaw si driver. Siyempre, road test tayo, no? Okay? Sinama mo si tatay, sinama mo si nanay, at yung bunsong kapatid ninyo. Imaginein mo lang. Siyempre, ikaw yung driver, most probably ang arrangement niyan, yung nasa tabi mo, nasa passenger seat mo, si tatay, 'di ba? Yung katabi mo. Tapos yung nasa likod, nandiyan si nanay at si bunso. Okay? Along the way, class. Kapag yung bunso, let's say ang bunso niya is 5-year-old, no? Sabi niya, nagugutom ako, itabi mo diyan. Okay? Tatabi ka? Maaring hindi. Okay? Kasi walang influence sa'yo yung batang yon. Na pag sinabi niyang, nagugutom ako, itabi mo. Okay? Hindi mo yan pakikinggan. Yung mga yun, class, nandito yon sa mga investor na less than 20%. Yan yon. Paano naman kung ang nagtanong ay si nanay? Sabi niya, nagugutom ako, itabi mo. Okay? Pag si nanay ang nagsalita, medyo maapektuhan ka eh. May significant influence yon. Okay, yan yun. May kakayahang bumulong, maka-impluensya sa decision mo. Yan yung nandito sa investment in associate. Okay? Paano naman kung halimbawa si tatay ang nagsalita? Sabi niya, nagugutom ako. Itabi mo. Okay? May kukontra? Walang kukontra doon. Ibig sabihin, nandito yun. Mga investor na may control. Okay? So, saan tayo? Dito, sa merong significant influence. Now, bakit siya presumption ng significant influence? Kasi class, hindi naman yan ang unang hahanapin mo sa problem eh. Ang unang hahanapin mo sa problem, yung indicators ng significant influence. Meaning the ownership interest of at least 20% is just a presumption of significant influence. Why is that? That is only a presumption because the main thing that you will consider are the indicators of significant influence. With the presence of indicators of significant influence, that would be tantamount that the investment should be properly classified as investment in associate regardless of the ownership interest. What do I mean? Ito ang indicators ng significant influence. At least one of these 5 is satisfied. The investment should now be properly classified as investment in associate, regardless of the percentage of ownership. In the absence of any indicators of significant influence in the problem, that's the time that you will resort to the percentage of ownership. And if the percentage of ownership lies at least 20% to 50%, there would now be a presumption. Kaya nga, presumption lang eh. Assumption that there is a significant influence. So what are now the indicators of significant influence? There are 5. Okay, at least one of this is enough for a certain investment be classified as investment in associate. Number 1 of the indicators is what? That the investor has representation in the board of directors or equivalent governing body of the investee. Item B, that the investor is part of the policy-making process of the investee. Item C, there is a material transaction that transpires between the investor and the investee. And letter D, merong interchange ng managerial personnel. Or item E, there is a provision of technical information. Okay, this should be memorized by heart. Why? This item may be asked in the jury question in the board exam. Again, the indicators of significant influence includes 1, that the investor has representation in the board of directors or equivalent governing body of the investee, that the investor is part of the policy-making process of the investee. Next, there is a material transaction that transpires between the investor and the investee. There is what? An interchange of managerial personnel and a provision of technical information. And at least one of these 5 is satisfied, that would be enough for a certain investment be classified as investment in associate. In the absence of this in the problem, that's the time that you will resort to the percentage of ownership as the basis of classifying the investment, whether that should fall under investment in associate. Okay? Let's have some examples. Okay, kunin mo yung handout mo. Ayan. Ito. Let's deal with items 1 and 2. Okay? Ano ang tanong? Ano ang tanong? Sa items 1 and wala pa lang tanong. O walang tanong sa items 1 and 2. Okay, lagyan natin ng tanong. Ang tanong dyan, may significant influence ba o wala? So, ang sagot mo lang dyan, meron o wala. Okay? So, let's have item 1. ABC Company owns 30% of the voting shares of Alpha. The other 60% is held by XYZ and all seats on the board of directors are appointed by XYZ. Ulit. ABC owns 30% of the voting shares of Alpha. The other 60 is held by XYZ and all seats on the board of directors are appointed by XYZ. Question. Si ABC Company ba merong significant influence over Alpha Company? Yes or no? Okay. Ito yung sinasabi ko. If the problem leads you to indicator of significant influence, that would be the basis of classifying the investment. If such indicator was not met, okay, wala siyang significant influence regardless of the percentage of ownership. Balik tayo sa item 1. Is this problem, number 1, okay, shows any information about an indicator of significant influence? Yes or no? Is this problem shows any information related to the indicator of significant influence? So, my question is general. Ito bang problem na to, meron bang pinag-uusapan tungkol sa indicator ng significant influence? Ito bang problem na to, meron bang nahagip sa problem number 1 na pa ang pinag-uusapan ay indicator ng significant influence? The answer would be yes. Kasi ito yun, representation in the board of directors. My next question is this. Does ABC Company has representation on the board of directors? Yes or no? Wala. My third question now is this. If that is now the case, is ABC Company has significant influence over Alpha Company? Yes or no? The answer is wala. Huwag kang magre-resort sa percentage of ownership if the problem leads you to indicator of significant influence. Kaya marami sa atin minsan nagkakamali sa problem. Kasi hindi natin tinitingnan yung indicators. Tumitingin kaagad tayo sa percentage of ownership. Okay? So in problem number 1, ABC, wala po siyang significant influence over the investee, regardless of the 30% ownership interest. So this would be classified. This investment should be classified under fair value to profit or loss or FVOCI. Let's now go to item 2. ABC Company owns 15% of the voting shares of Alpha, and all seats are held in very small blocks, and therefore ABC Company has many seats on the board of directors. Question number 1. Sa problem 2, meron bang nahagip na ang pinag-uusapan ay indicator ng significant influence? Yes or no? Meron. Okay. What is that? That is representation again in the board of directors. Okay, next. Si ABC Company ba may representation sa board of directors or equivalent governing body ni investee? Yes. Okay. If that is now the case, meron bang significant influence si ABC over Alpha? The answer is yes, despite that 50% ownership, which is less than the threshold for significant influence as far as ownership interest is concerned. Nakuha. So, meron. Yan. Yes, yan. O, dito tayo. Item 3. On January 1, X1, Abet Company acquired 30,000 of the 100,000 outstanding shares at 10%. Compute for the percentage of ownership. So, the percentage of ownership is 30%. Okay. Madali lang yan. Pero hindi yan yung punto ko kung bakit ko sinama dyan. So, the percentage of ownership here is 30%. Now, is this problem number 3 talks about any information about the indicator of significant influence? Yes or no? Wala. Okay. If that is now the case, that's the time that you will resort to the percentage of ownership to properly classify what should be the investment, what should be the proper accounting treatment for this investment, and the proper classification of which. Okay? So, since the percentage of ownership is 30%, would we assume that there is a significant influence over the investee? The answer is yes. And that is the one that I am stressing a while ago, that at least 20% to 50% is just a presumption of significant influence. Yun. So, in the absence of any information related to indicators of significant influence given in the problem, that's the time that you will resort to the computation of the percentage of ownership, and that would be the basis on what accounting treatment should that investment be properly classified and what accounting treatment should be properly used. Okay? If na-establish mo na merong investment na may significant influence, yan na. Gagamit ka na ng equity method of accounting. Okay, and the investment now should be properly called investment in associate. Okay, so the investment in associate is initially measured at cost, at acquisition cost. And the subsequent measurement of that is at carrying value. However, class, how to account for that? Under equity method of accounting, any changes in the equity of the investee should also move the corresponding investment in associate, but not on the full amount. Okay? That would now deal with what percentage of ownership do the investor have. For example, initial measurement, the T account of investment in associate, initial measurement is at cost. Okay? And the carrying value should be computed based on the adjustments. So that cost will be adjusted based on the changes in the equity of the investee. If a certain investee reported a net income of 1 million pesos, okay, the equity of the investee then increase. Siyempre, net income, tumaas ang equity niya. Magkakaroon ka rin ng increase sa investment in associate mo. but not on that full 1 million pesos. You will just have your share based on the percentage of ownership na meron ka. Let's say the percentage of ownership is only 20%. So 20% of that 1 million, that is 200,000. That would now be the share in your net income. And any other items that affects the equity of the investee would affect the investment in associate at a certain percentage based on the percentage of ownership on a directly proportional basis. Meaning, if the investee's equity increases, your investment in associates should also increase based on the percentage of ownership or based on your share. If the investee's equity decreases, your investment in associate will also decrease based on the percentage of ownership. So these are some of the common items that would affect your investment in associate. You have your share in net income, share in the increase of other comprehensive income, amortization of excess on the overvaluation of assets, share in net loss, share in dividends, share in the decrease in the other comprehensive income, amortization of excess on the undervaluation of assets excluding goodwill, and the impairment loss. Okay? Or any other items that would affect the equity of the investee would affect also the investment in associate. Okay? So let's now proceed. Oh, yan. So ito, ganun din yan. Ito, number 4, ganun din. The objective is to identify whether there would be a significant influence. So item number 4, the objective of this is only to determine if the entity has a significant influence over the investee. And if you will compute for the percentage of ownership here, that would be at least 20%. And this problem is a problem that did not lead to any information about significant influence. Therefore, this should be accounted based on the computed percentage of ownership. And if you will compute for this, that would fall under at least 20%. Therefore, in the absence of any information about significant influence, this investment should be properly classified as investment in associate. That is just the substance of this 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay? Not on the mere computation of the percentage of ownership. Okay? So let's now dive to the actual problem. Etong item 6, iwanan mo muna, no? Mayroon akong information pa na ilalagay dito. Okay? So let's have first item 5. In item 5, let's read the requirements. 5.A, compute for the share in profit or loss in 20x1 and 20x2. And letter B, compute for the carrying amount of the investment December 31, 20x1 and 20x2. Okay. Sige, lipat ko lang to sa Excel para meron kang babalikan. Okay? So, read the problem on January 1, 20x1, Abet Company purchase. Okay. Purchase 20,000 out of the 100,000. Total outstanding shares of XYZ for 1 million. XYZ's asset and liabilities approximate their fair values. In X1, XYZ reported profit of 3 million declared and paid cash dividends of 200,000. In 20X2, XYZ reported loss of 2 million, declared and issued stock dividends and reported gain on property revaluation of 500,000 and loss on exchange difference of translation. So this is just a translation loss of foreign operations of 100,000 pesos. Okay? So let's now have this. Excel tayo. The share in profit or loss of associate in 20x1. Okay, so 20x1 muna tayo. So sa 20x1 class, so hanggang saan yan? Ito. In 20x1, XYZ reported profit of 3 million pesos. Okay? So, to answer 20x1, requirement A, so that should only be 3 million times the percentage of ownership of 20 over 100 times 20%. Ito na yung sagot. Okay. That is 600,000 pesos for item A 20x1. But for 20x2, ano yung mga sinabi niya? Sabi niya, in 20x2, XYZ reported loss of 2 million and declared and issued 10% stock dividends and reported gain on property revaluation and translation loss. Ganito klase. Pag ang tanong lang share in profit or loss, dun ka lang sa income statement. Okay? The resulting bottom line of the income statement or the statement of profit or loss, that would be your net income. Okay? Kasi merong din share in other comprehensive income. This property revaluation and this translation loss are components of other comprehensive income. So in answering problem A, 20x2, do not consider the gain on the revaluation and the translation loss in computing for the share in profit or loss. What you need to consider is only the bottom line of your income statement, which is the reported income or loss, and that is 2 million pesos. What about the 10% stock dividend, sir? Ignore. Why ignore? Kasi this would not change the percentage of ownership. Tingnan natin. The existing ownership interest is 20,000. Out of the 100,000. If there is a declaration of stock dividends, so the resulting ownership interest here is 20,000 over 100,000. I'm talking about shares here. Okay. Kung nagkaroon ng stock dividends, ano mangyayari dito? Eh di ba madadagdagan siya ng 10%. So this would now be 20,000 times 1.1. Magiging 22,000 shares siya. Ito rin naman gagalaw That is 100,000 times 1.1. Okay, magiging 110,000 outstanding number of shares yan. And the percentage of ownership would remain at 20%. Yan yung sinasabi natin. Kaya ignore mo lang. Okay? So, ignore. So, sa 20x2, letter A, what is now the share in profit or loss? You will just consider this loss of 2 million pesos. So, this is 2 million times 20%. So, the answer here is 400,000 share in net loss. Negative to. Okay? Yan. Share in net loss. Okay? That is letter A. How about letter B? Compute for the carrying amount of the investment 20x1 and 20x2. So, gawa tayo ng T account ng investment in associate. So, investment in associate. The initial measurement of the investment in associate is what? That is at cost, at acquisition cost. Okay? And that acquisition cost here, magkano ba natin nakuha? That is, yes, that is 1 million pesos. We are asked to compute for the carrying value 20x1. So the beginning here is at cost amounting to 1 million pesos. And any changes in the equity of the investee would change your, yes, your investment in associate. Okay? So what are the change in the equity of the investee? The reported profit of 3 million. So that would be a share in net income. And the share in net income as computed a while ago is what? That is 600,000 pesos. And what are other items that change the equity of the investee? The declaration of dividends. That decreases the equity of the investee. Therefore, there would be a share in dividends. That is 200,000 times 20%. Okay, so meaning the ending balance or the carrying amount of your investment December 31, 20x1 would be 1 million plus 600,000 minus 40,000, and this is the answer. That is 1,560,000 pesos for 20x1. Let's now move to 20x2. Okay? For 20x2 class, yan, 20x2, ang beginning natin, syempre yung ending ng 20x1. Okay. So, beginning natin is 1,560. Okay? Then, wala naman tayong share in net income, pero meron tayong share in net loss. Diba? Kasi net loss ang resulting figure niya eh. So, the computed share in net loss a while ago is 400,000 pesos. So, this is share in net loss amounting to 400,000 pesos. Okay. We ignored the property revaluation and the translation loss in computing for the share in profit or loss. But in computing for the investment in associate, that would be considered. Why? All changes in the equity of the investee. And the other comprehensive income also affects your equity as far as the investee is concerned. Therefore, since that other comprehensive income items affects the equity of the investee, therefore there would also be a corresponding effect in the investment in associate based on the percentage of ownership. So this property revaluation, there should be a share, no? Share in the property revaluation, gain on property revaluation of how much? So that is 500,000 times 20%. And there should also be a share in translation loss amounting to 100,000 times 20%. Okay, so this is 1,560 plus 100,000 minus 400,000 and minus 20,000. This is now the carrying amount of the investment, 20x2. Okay? That is problem 5. Okay. So let's now move to problem next. Problem next is, let's skip problem 6, no? May ayusin pa ako dyan. Balikan natin yan next time. Okay. Problem 7 is all about potential voting rights. Kopyahin ko lang class sa Excel para dire-diretso tayo. Okay? So then we'll discuss first the concept related to potential voting rights. Ingat ka dito kasi ang ganda ng konsepto nito, then binigay na siya sa exam lately. Okay? Yan. Bakit siya potential voting rights? Okay. Potential voting rights kasi class, this encompasses your securities that can be converted into ordinary shares. However, the management has no intention to exercise or to convert. I-share ko na lang concept map. Ito. Gusto nyo ba na i-upload ko pati ito sa ano natin? Sa classroom? O sige. So, mamaya. So, from the first topic, i-load natin. Ang makakaintindi lang kasi nito, class, yung nakinig. Kasi concept, Bob. Sige, yung classmate mo ng college. Anong inaaral nyo? Iibigay mo yan. Yan. Hindi niya maiintindihan. Okay? Ang nakakaintindi lang yan yung mga nakinig. And that is the purpose actually. Okay? To gain, for my students to have the advantage over those. Kasi kung yan ay regular notes class, pag kumalat yan, nawawalan ka kasi ng advantage. Okay? Yung concept mapping na yan, na-imagine mo yan, class. Ganito, class, no? Tandaan mo, class. Mas nare-recognize ng isip ng tao ang symbols kesa sa text. Tandaan mo yan. Kaya pag nag-aaral ka, gamitan mo ng paraan na mas ma-appreciate niya at matatandaan niya ng mas matagal. Parang stoplight, di ba? Kung ang stoplight, kung text yan, di ba? Go, ready, stop. Text nakasulat. Magpa-process pa kasi ng medyo ilang segundo bago mag-react ang katawan after may digest ng isip. Pero di ba ang ginamit kulay? Oh, mas mabilis. Ganun din. Sabi ko nga sa'yo, I was once a working student when I took the board exam. And many of this population, 181 students inside the classroom right now. Siguro majority of you are working students. And we have no luxury of time para ubusin lahat. Pero class, the board examination is conceptual in nature. Palaliman to ng konsepto, not on a procedural basis. Kaya kung ako sa'yo, master the concepts and that's it. May laban ka na. Okay? Huwag mong intindihin yung mga nakikita mong full-time reviewee na sobrang dami ng mga librong binabasa at inaaral because they have the luxury of time. Na huwag mo silang sabayan. Doon ka sa isang diskarte. At yung prof mo, napatunayan yan because I am a working student when I took the board exam. So, kaya. Okay? Just focus, follow the system, follow your format. Huwag kang aalis dun sa framework na yan. Pampasa tayo. Okay? Pero saan siya magsisimula? Magsisimula siya sa paniniwala mo. Okay? Napapasa ka. If you will have any doubt dyan sa bagay na yan, step number 1 pa lang, magkakaproblema na tayo. Ganun lang siya. Ang simula talaga niyan, maniwala ka lang. Okay? Follow the process. Kung paano tayo napunta dyan? Siguro, lighter part of the discussion. Meron ngang pinadala sa amin, kung makikita mo dun sa page ng ARS, si Cañete, no? It took him 13 years. Okay? It took him 7 takes. Pero hindi siya bumitaw. Okay? And Mr. Cañete is now a CPA. O, ganun. So, meaning, hindi kasi tayo pare-pareho ng pinanggalingan eh. What do I mean? Magkakaiba tayo ng starting point. Ibig sabihin, pinanganak tayo na hindi tayo nakapamili. Maaaring yung iba, di ba, pinanganak na nasa aircon na. Maaaring tayo, nasa bukid, di ba? Ibig sabihin, ganon. We are not born na, na at the same starting point. So, bakit tayo nag-work? Kasi we don't have the luxury na maging full-time student. So, ganun siya. So, wag mo siyang i-compare. Pero, the board examination room is an equal playing field. Walang mayaman, walang mahirap, walang full-time reviewee, walang working. The examination room is an equal playing field na mawawala lahat ng advantages and disadvantages that would dive down on what preparation and emotional motivation, yung tibay ng dibdib. Ganun lang naman siya. So, yun lang. Bago tayo pumasok sa potential voting rights. Sir, ilan studying hours nyo? Dahil dati, while working, hindi mo kasi siya hindi siya kayang i-template eh. Di ba? Sa work kasi, iba ang demand. Minsan, on-call pa nga tayo dyan. Basta ang sikreto lang dyan, dire-diretso. Di bali ng mabagal, basta continuous. Okay? Ganun siya. So, and habang alam mo yon, kahit wala sa yung materials, pwede kang mag-review dun eh. Let's say, investment in associate, dinidiscuss mo siya sa isip mo. Pag nakuha mo na yung puno, yung simula at yung dulo, okay ka na doon. Ano ba yung simula at dulo? Kailangan alam mo yung initial measurement at saka yung subsequent measurement. Pag yung gitna kasi nun, yun ang concept eh. yung papunta dun sa subsequent measurement. Pag yun naayos mo na, diretso ka na sa pangalawang account. Okay? At yung mga bagay na alam mo na, huwag mo nang ganong intindihin. What do I mean? Hindi ko yata na-discuss dito yan. Yung gumagawa, download the syllabus, 30 seconds lang to. Download the syllabus in the board examination. Okay? Then, i-color code mo yon. I-color code mo in the sense na yun nga, yung parang stoplight. Siguro, mas importante to for now. No? I-share ko lang. Kasi nasa almost ano na. Huwag muna yung potential voting rights. Download the syllabus. Let's say this is cash. This is receivables, inventory, investments. Ganyan. I-color code mo to into green, into yellow, into red. Ganito mo siya gagawin sa lahat ng subjects. May syllabus naman yan eh. Let's say cash. Pag ang cash mo nasa green, yan yung mga bagay na pag sinabi ng classmate mong mali ka, makikipag-away ka kasi ganun mo kagamay ang concept. Okay? Pag sinabi mong yellow class, yan yung sa tingin mo, konting aral pa, makukuha mo na. Pag sinabi mong nasa red, yan yung, alam mo yung class, kahit iuntog mo sarili mo sa pader, alam mo magkakamali ka. Yan yon. This template will tell you where to start. Yung cash, pag nasa green mo na yan, huwag ka nang ganong mag-aral dyan. Kasi pinaniniwala, question number 1, nasagot mo. Question number 2, nasagot mo. Pinaniniwala mo yung sarili mo, ang galing-galing mo. Nasa green na nga yan eh. Your objective is to transfer this yellow to green and to transfer this red into yellow, then eventually green. This template will tell you if you will take the board examination or not. Okay? Ikaw ang mag-a-assess kasi nito. And what is the perfect? Okay? Perfect template para mag-exam ka na. 80% nasa green. 80% nasa green. 20% nasa yellow. And this template, yan yung ginamit ko during my time as a working student. Darating kasi yung time na hindi mo alam kung saan ka magsisimula sa pag-aaral. And this template will tell you where to start. Using this template, dito ka magsimula sa nakakit. Okay? Next, sa board examination, all items are in equal footing. Equal footing in the sense question number 1 and question number 70, these are all equivalent to 1 point. 1 point kasi pareho ito. But these two items have different magnitude or difficulty. So meaning, sa board examination, do not be the typical examinee who answer questions on a chronological order. 1, 2, 3, ganyan. Kapag yan ang ginawa mo, candidate ka sa hindi papalarin. Totoo yan. Ganito, mag-exam. First 3 to 5 minutes, tingnan mo yung mga tanong. Okay? Then, lagyan mo ng marka. Let's say, ang unang hinahanap mo, easy, familiar items, and easy to solve. As you assess. Let's say, ang una mong nakita, problem number 6. Yan, tatatuan mo yan. Tick mark mo, bahala ka ng ano. The next item na nakita mo, let's say item 25. Yan. Tinatatuan mo. Tanong lang. Yung tanong, then ma-assess mo naman kung kaya eh. Familiar and easy. Okay? Then, the next one na hinahanap mo is what? Familiar, but will take a longer amount of time to solve. So, di ba 1 to 70 yun? Oh. Ang hinahanap mong una ay mga familiar sa'yo. Ito, yung sa example natin na kulay orange. Then, as you go along, familiar and longer amount of time to solve. Let's say, panibagong symbol yan. Okay, maaring bilog, ganyan. Nakuha. O, yan. Ang una mong isa-solve, yung mga items na familiar and easy for you. Ito yon. So, start with number 6. Then, the next one is item 13. Then, 22, 27. Yan yon. Ang una mong ginagawa. Pag ginagawa mo yan, nakakakuha ka ng tinatawag na points. Kasi alam mo eh. At nakakuha ka ng tinatawag na confidence. Yan yon. After mo nang mag-gain yan, punta ka na dun sa mga items na familiar sa'yo, but you assess that will take a longer amount of time to solve. Yan na yun, yung mga nasa green. Tumataas na class yung points mo dyan at confidence. Okay? Eh sir, paano yung mga wala? Yung mga walang tato. For example, number 20. Yan yung mga bagay na minsan, di ba, sa tanang buhay mo, dyan mo lang nakita sa board exam. Na ibig kong sabihin, kahit anong isagot mo dyan, hindi mo alam kung tama o mali kahit lumalabas sa kalki mo. So ano nangyari dito? Nabigyan mo ng chance yung sarili mo ipaglaban yung mga bagay na alam mo. Ano ibig kong sabihin? The main enemy inside the board examination room is time. And the worst thing na mangyari sa'yo ay ganito. Yung nakikita mo yung succeeding items, let's say 60 to 55 to ganyan, to 70, nakikita mong kaya mong isolve, pero hindi mo na magawa kasi wala ka ng oras. Ibig sabihin, class, na-deprive mo yung sarili mo sa mga bagay na alam mo. Kaya to take the board exam, do not be the typical examinee who answers question from number 1 to number 2 to number 3 on a chronological order. Lagyan mo ng diskarte. Pag ginawa mo yan, 40% of the examinees, tinalo mo na. Totoo yan. Okay, maniwala ka dyan. Daanin natin yan sa diskarte. Okay, those are some of the frameworks na ginamit natin nung tayo ay nag-exam. Okay? Nabigyan mo ng magandang laban. Okay? And 10:36. Hindi, ano ako nag-start 8:30. Okay? Kausapin ko na lang si Jayman. At yung pangatlo, di ba? Huwag kang panghihinaan ng loob. Oo. Ibabalik kita ngayon sa auditing theory. Mabilis na lang to, class. Nasimulan ko na rin naman. Okay. Gawin natin. Auditing theory tayo. Anim ang subjects mo. Let's say meron kang RFBT, tax, MAS, auditing, AFAR, saka siyempre yung pinaka-paborito mo. Bias tayo ngayon. Okay, FAR. Okay. So there are 3 examinees. Candidates A, B, and C. Okay? Then let's say candidates A got 100% here. Oh, talino. 100% here, 100% here. The same as B, 100% here, 100% here, and 100% here. And C, ano ba yun? Just a typical examinee na parang departmental exam ang grade 72, 74, 72. Ganyan. Okay? Then here comes odd. Okay? Nagkwentuhan yung tatlong magkakaibigan na to. Ano bang assessment mo sa board exam? Napakasimple. Sabi ni A and B, hindi naman pala kailangan ng sobrang ginawa akong preparation ng undergrad. Because of that. Okay? Minsan, sa overconfidence, let's say, nagkaayaan. Sige, wala naman palang kwenta exam eh. Nagkaayaan. Konting, 2 battles and so on and so forth. Ganyan. Hindi pala sanay ito si A and B. Nag-exam. Anong nakuha? 74. Okay? 75. See, ano man ang sitwasyon, walang epekto, 73. Ayan. Let's say afar. Afar na. O, ito, meron pang hangover. 74 din. Okay, si B. Let's say 74 din. Ikaw, consistent. Si C. Consistent na parang departmental exam lang. And sa far, okay, worst thing na nangyari kay A, wala na eh. 64 na. Sabi na, alam mo yun, na disorient na. Tapos, si B, ganun din. Na disorient na. Si C, hinintay niya lang yung moment niya na ang paborito niyang subject ay far. 85. What is now the average of this? Average. So, ang average nito ay yan. 85.33. And the average of these two are yan. Okay, let's now classify auditing theory. Pass, condition, failed. How would you consider A? Is A a pass, failed, or condition candidate? A is a failed candidate. What is the requirement to become a pass candidate? Pass candidate, the GWA of at least 75% with no grade lower than 65. Diba? What is the requirement for condition candidate? Hindi niya na-meet yung requirements, this is a pass candidate. Okay. Hindi niya na-meet yung requirement ng pass candidate, pero meron siyang majority of the subjects, majority ay 75%. Majority of the subjects. And what is the majority of 6? The majority of 6 is 4. 4 subjects. Okay? What is the requirement for a failed candidate? Hindi simple. A candidate that did not meet the requirement for pass or condition candidate. Let's take item A or candidate A. Taso 85.33. GWA at least 75 na meet niya with no grade lower than 65%. Bagsak siya dito. Condition candidate majority 4 subjects at least 75. Isa, dalawa, tatlo. Ibig sabihin, hindi niya na-meet failed. How about B? Can you classify B? B is what? Failed condition pass. This is a conditional candidate. Tingnan mo. At least 75 na meet. No grade lower than 65, hindi. Sablay siya dito. So, hindi siya pass. Condition, majority at least 75%. Isa, dalawa, tatlo, apat. Nakuha? Oh. So, condi siya. Okay? How about C? Is C pass, condition, or fail? C is now a certified public accountant. Tingnan mo yung setup na to. Kung ikaw sa board exam, pinanghinaan ka na ng loob, unang subject pa lang, maaapektuhan yung iba mong subjects. Kaya kung nahirapan ka sa una, dalawa, tatlong subjects mo, tuloy pa rin yung laban mo. The same confidence as you have the first time. Hintayin mo yung moment mo na dumating. Ang moment lang ni C, nandito lang sa far lang Yan lang yung moment niya Yan lang yung paborito niya Ang gusto kong sabihin, wag dagdagan mo naman yung moment mo, wag lang isa naman. Okay? So meaning, dagdagan mo sa ibang subjects. Kung the worst thing na nangyayari sa isang examining exam 1 pa lang first subject pa lang, iyak na ng iyak Nakuha. Pangalawa, iyak pa rin ng iyak Sa pangatlo, wala nang luha yan. Ibig sabihin, bakit mo iiyakan yung unang subjects na nahihirapan ka, meron ka pa namang karapatang makapasa kung hanggang sa dulo mo ilalaban. Yan ang tandaan mo. This template will tell you na hindi ka dapat bumigay hanggang dulo. Kasi one subject can make a difference. Just like C. this subject made the difference. CPA na siya. Tingnan mo yung grades nito. Ang gaganda, di ba? Pero hindi sila qualified to become a CPA. Ano ibig sabihin? Tamang pag-aaral lang sa lahat ng subject. Wala kang iiwanan. Wala ka rin ganong pagtutuunan ng pansin kasi that would not define your license. Your license would define the competence on all levels. And yun na, just wait for your perfect moment. Yan yan. Tandaan mo yan, walang iiyak ng first subject. I hope this template will flashback to you during the actual exam. Ilaban natin hanggang dulo. Pag ganyan ang mindset mo, another 30% of the examinees, tinalo mo na. Okay? Daanin natin sa diskarte. Nakuha? Okay. So, proceed na tayo sa lecture. I hope you find this light moments effective or motivates you. Kasi pinagdaanan na rin naman natin to. At mas nakaka-relate ako sa inyo because I am a working student when I took the board exam. Okay? So let's now go to the lecture again. Okay? So potential voting rights po tayo. Si entity, merong existing ownership which is less than 20%. Okay? Then, kung less than 20% yan, let's say here, 10% plus, gagamit lang siya ng PFRS 9. Fair value to other comprehensive income or fair value to profit or loss. However, meron siyang currently exercisable or convertible potential voting rights. These potential voting rights encompasses securities that can be converted into ordinary shares. You have your share warrants, options, or debt or equity instruments that can be converted into ordinary shares. Siyempre, pag kinonvert yan into ordinary shares, tataas ang ownership interest. However, class, the problem is the entity's management has no intention to exercise or to convert the potential voting rights. Pag ganyan ang senaryo, ito ang concept na gagawin mo. Ano yan? Ano ang gagawin mo concept? Ikaw, masyado kang seryoso. Ano ang gagawin mo? Yan lang yon. Oh. Ano ang gagawin mo pag ganyan ang senaryo? Ang gagawin mo, class, you will exercise or convert the potential voting rights. Yun lang yung gagawin mo. So you will use, naging concept na to. You will use the ano ang gagawin mo concept. You will exercise or convert. Ikaw yung magko-convert nito. What is the purpose? The purpose is just to determine if there is a significant influence. Let's say, nung kinonvert mo yan, nung in-exercise mo, nalaman mo, napapalo ang ownership interest niya sa at least 20% na magkakaroon na siya ng significant influence. So, ito yon. Before, ito yung 10% existing. Nung ginawa mo yung after, ano ang gagawin mo concept, ba pumalo ang ownership interest niya saan? Sa 20%. If that is the case, substance over form, the investment should be properly classified as investment in associate because there is a presumption of significant influence and the investor now will use the equity method of accounting being its investment under investment in associate. Kung nalaman mo naman na wala pa ring papalong significant influence after the ano ang gagawin mo concept, then safe tayo. I-measure mo yan at fair value. Pero ganito ang catch. Since na-establish mo in substance, meron siyang significant influence over the investee at ika-classify mo na siya as investment in associate at gagamit ka na ng equity method of accounting. Kung halimbawang nag-report siya ng net income na 1 million, alam mo na meron siyang share in net income. But the share in net income will be computed not on the 23% na kinompute mo after the ano ang gagawin mo concept, but use the existing 10%. So this will now be the share in net income. Use the present or existing ownership interest. Okay? Bakit? Kasi hindi naman niya to ginawa eh. Yung pag-compute niya, hindi naman niya kinonvert or in-exercise eh. Ikaw lang yung may kagagawan niya. So, ibig sabihin, itong ginawa mong ito, ang purpose lang yan is to identify what should be the accounting, the proper accounting treatment, and the proper classification of the investment. Okay? Ganun siya. Ito, lumabas na sa exam. Let's have this problem. Potential voting rights. Next item tayo. This is problem 6, problem 7. Okay? So, I'll transfer you to Excel. So, in problem 6, this is your potential voting rights problem. Read problem 6 or problem, ano nga ulit yun? Problem 7. O, yan. O. The requirement is to compute for the share in profit of associate how much the carrying amount at year-end. Basa. ABC owns 15,000 shares out of the 100,000 shares of XYZ. As of year-end, ABC holds 20,000 stock rights which enable ABC to acquire additional shares from XYZ on a 2-for-1 share basis. The stock rights are exercisable immediately. However, the management does not intend to exercise the stock rights. XYZ does not have any other rights outstanding. Okay. XYZ reports year-end profit of 1 million and declared cash dividends of 100,000. The investment is a carrying amount before any adjustment amounting to 300,000 pesos. Magkano ang share in profit of associate? Magkano ang carrying amount ng investment? Okay. Ang existing ownership interest niya ay 15,000 over 100,000, 15%. Okay? Ang kanyang ownership interest. Pero meron siyang stock rights that would enable the ABC, the company, to acquire additional shares from XYZ on a 2 rights for 1 share basis. Ibig sabihin pala, pag in-exercise niya to, 20,000 stock rights, ang dalawang rights makakakuha ng isang share. Ibig sabihin, meron siyang capability to acquire 10,000 additional shares, di ba? However, the stock rights are exercisable immediately. However, the management does not intend to exercise the stock rights. That is now the complete information related to the concept of potential voting rights. So you will use the ang gagawin mo concept. If the management will exercise the 20,000 stock rights, what is the resulting percentage of ownership? Can you please compute? If the entity will exercise the 20,000 stock rights to be converted into additional 10,000 shares, what would now be the percentage of ownership? Not 15%. Not 15%. Ilan na? So that would now fall under 25%. Oh. If that would fall under 25% now, would there be a presumption of significant influence? Answer is yes. Okay? So if there is now a presumption of significant influence, what is the proper classification of this investment? Investment in associate. Meaning, you will use the equity method of accounting. Oh, let's now go to the requirement. Magkano ang share in profit? The company reported profit of 1 million pesos. 1 million pesos. What would now be the share in net income? So answer? So 1 million times blank equals blank. Answer should be, yes, you will use the existing ownership of 15%. And the answer would be 1 million times 15%. Answer that is 150,000 pesos. That is the essence of potential voting rights. So ito, yung nandito, madali na lang ito. Yung investment in associate. Kasi ano lang to, para madagdagan lang yung tanong. Ano yan? So, sabi niya, what is the investment in associate at year-end carrying value? Dito ko na lang gawin. So, this is the T account for your investment in associate. Okay? Yan, investment in associate. Then, ang sabi niya, class, meron daw beginning balance before the adjustment na magkano? 300,000 pesos. Okay? Then, 300,000 pesos. Then, meron siyang share in net income amounting to 150,000 pesos. Then, meron siyang share in dividends na this is 100,000 times the existing ownership interest of 15%. So, this is 15,000. So, answer would be here. 300 plus 150 plus or minus 15,000. Answer, this is 435,000 for problem 7. Okay, let's now move to problem 8. In problem 8, this is now your cumulative preference shares. Usap ulit tayo dito. Concept map ulit tayo. Yung cumulative preference shares class, yung preference shares may be classified into cumulative, non-cumulative, and redeemable preference shares. Kapag ginamitan ka ng preference shares, alamin mo ang classification yan, cumulative, non-cumulative, o redeemable. Kasi magkakamali ka dyan sa pag-compute ng share in net income. Okay. If the entity reported profit of investor reported profit of this amount, kapag yan dinirect mo times the percentage of ownership, magkakamali ka sa share in net income. Pag may presence ng preference shares. Kapag cumulative class, you will deduct 1-year dividend. Ito, 1-year dividend ng preference shares. That would now be the adjusted profit. And that adjusted profit will now be the basis in computing for the share in net income. Okay? Pag cumulative, always deduct 1-year dividend regardless of declaration. Pag non-cumulative, you will only deduct 1-year dividend if there is a declaration of dividends. Pag redeemable class, smiley lang yan. Kasi this is what? A debt security. Pinag-usapan na natin yan. Noon pa. Kahit nung nasa cash pa lang tayo. Okay, the objective here is to compute for the adjusted profit, and that adjusted profit is the basis in computing for your share in net income. If the preference shares are cumulative, deduct 1-year dividend regardless of declaration. If that is non-cumulative, only deduct 1-year dividend if there is a declaration of dividend. And if that is redeemable, just smile. Hindi, just smile. Wala kang gagawin. Okay? Let's now go to the problem 8. Problem 8 tayo. And related, there are several independent scenarios cited in item 8. Kunin natin sa Excel ulit. Okay. So dito sa 8, sabi niya, di ba? ABC owns 20% daw. This is the default problem, ha? Tapos independent scenario yung ABCD. ABC owns 20% of XYZ. Di ba? Ordinary shares. And has an outstanding cumulative 6% preference shares. Okay. So, but before that, may tanong dito, no? Baka tanong din ng iba. Sir, hindi po madadagdagan ang outstanding shares pag nag-exercise ng stock rights. Yes, madadagdagan, Jason. Kung mayroong actual exercise ng stock rights. Dun sa problem kanina sa potential voting rights, hindi kasi in-exercise. Kaya ang ginawa natin, tayo yung nag-exercise just to determine the proper accounting treatment that would be used. Okay? So here. So, the default problem is this. ABC owns 20% of XYZ's ordinary shares. XYZ also has an outstanding cumulative 6% preference shares of 2 million pesos. None of those preference shares is held by ABC. Cumulative. O yan ha. Ang default cumulative preference shares are in arrears for 3 years. XYZ reported year-end profits of 1 million and declared no dividends. Magkano ang share in profit of associate? Okay. So let's compute. Objective number 1 is to determine the adjusted profit. For letter A, the investee reported income amounting to 1 million pesos. XYZ reported profit of 1 million. So this is 1 million. Okay? If you will directly multiply this by the existing 20% ownership interest, and your answer would be 200,000, magkakamali ka. That is not the actual answer to determine the share in profit or loss, because there is the presence of preference shares. And the preference shares is classified as cumulative. Anong sabi natin sa concept? You will deduct 1-year dividend regardless of declaration. May declaration o wala, mag-deduct ka ng 1-year dividend. May declaration ba? Walang dividends. I don't care. We don't care because the preference shares are cumulative. So this is your 1-year dividend for preference shares. And the 1-year dividend for preference shares, that is 2 million times 6%. No? So this is 2 million times 6%. So this is 120,000. Okay? Yeah. So this is now 1 million minus 120,000. And this is now the adjusted profit. And the adjusted profit now will be the basis in computing for the share in net income. So the answer is, this is times 20% ownership interest. This is now the share in net income for item 1. So this is 880,000 times 20%. Answer 176,000 for item A. Let's now go to item B. For item B, what if XYZ declared dividends that pay all the dividends in arrears? How much is the share in profit or loss of associate? At binanggit niya pa prior years. The question should have been, how much is the share in profit or loss? Pero i-discuss ko na rin yan. How much the share in profit or loss in prior years. Okay, ganito yung class. Default problem, the preference shares are cumulative. Okay? What if XYZ declared dividends that pay all the dividends in arrears? Bakit ganon? Kasi class, yung problem natin, default problem natin, the entity declared no dividends. Okay. Then, ang sabi dito class, sa letter B, what if nag-declare siya ng dividends that pay all the dividends in arrears? Okay? Ano yung gagawin natin dyan? Stick ka sa concept. Ano yung konsepto natin? Sabi natin, if that is cumulative, regardless of declaration, you will deduct 1-year dividend. Yan yun eh. Ito, may declaration na siya sa letter B. So, deduct 1-year dividend pa rin. So, the answer is still 176,000 pesos. Eh, bakit ganun, sir? Bakit hindi 360? O, di ba ganito siya? 3 taon. XYZ. X1, X2, X3. O. Ganyan. X1, X2, X3. Bakit, sir? The common mistake here is this. The common mistake is, ang ginagamit dito, instead of 120,000, kasi sabi, sir, dividends in arrears eh. Eh, ilan taon ba hindi nagde-declare, sir? Eh, di ba 3 years? Okay. Sabi niya, 3 years eh. Cumulative preference shares are in arrears for 3 years. And sinabi ni letter B, nag-declare siya ng dividends that pay all the dividends in arrears. So, 3 years. So, the common mistake, ang ginagawa, ito kasi 1 year lang eh. Ang ginagawa dyan, ginagawang 360,000 ang binabawas. Mali yun, class. Always 1 year yan. Regardless of declaration. May declaration o wala, laging 1 year yan. Bakit? Tingnan mo, class, ha? 3 years ito. Nung 20x1, no declaration of dividends. Pero anong ginawa mo? Di ba regardless of declaration, just like in item A, nagbawas ka ng 120,000 nung nag-compute ka ng share in net income, nung nag-compute ka ng adjusted profit. Nung 20x2, di ba no declaration pa rin ng dividends yan? Pero anong ginawa mo? Since cumulative yan, nagbawas ka na naman ng 100,000 just like in item A. There is no declaration but you've deducted 120,000 1-year dividend. Kaya ngayon may declaration, class, hindi pwede na magiging 360 to kasi sosobra na eh. Di ba? 360 for the 3 years. 120 ka pa rin dyan kasi that would complete now the 360,000. Nakuha. Ang senaryo mo nandito sa 20x3. Declared all the dividends that pay all the dividends in arrears. Regardless of declaration, that would still be 120,000 because in the previous years, there were no declaration of dividends, but what you did is what? You've deducted 120,000 since this is a cumulative preference shares. So, this would always be a 1-year dividend. Okay? Let's now go to letter C. What if the preference shares are non-cumulative? O, pag non-cumulative yan, class, magdededuct ka lang ng dividendo ng preference shares if there is a declaration of dividends. O, ang default problem natin ano? Ang sabi niya, no declaration of dividends eh. O, what if instead of cumulative, non-cumulative yan, will we deduct 120,000? Yes or no? And there is no declaration of dividends. So the answer is no. Wala to. Okay? So meaning, walang deduction since wala namang declaration ng dividends. The concept says, you will only deduct 1-year dividend if there is a declaration of dividends if that is classified as non-cumulative preference shares. Okay? So that is letter C. And yung letter D, what if the shares are redeemable preference shares? Pag dyan, class, tigil ka na sa pagbabasa, baka maapektuhan ka pa ng ibang information. Pag redeemable preference shares, di ba ang sabi natin, that is part of your debt securities. Okay? Anong gagawin? Hindi sinabing mag-smile ka lang. Mag-compute ka din. Pero the complete computation of that is this. Ganito rin siya. The answer is there will be no adjustments and the adjusted profit is also 1 million and the answer is 200,000. Okay, so let's now go to the last problem for the day. This is an actual board exam problem, but it requires us 8 requirements. Okay, let's now have this item. The next one, item 9. Para dire-diretso, I will be transferring this to Excel. Okay? So, the item number 9 involves a lot of concept. Pero class, ang madadagdag lang sa'yo dito ay konsepto tungkol sa investor's interest in the residual equity of the investee. So, ang requirement dyan, isa pa lang, letter A, no? So, kunin ko na para diretso. Then discuss the concept related to this. Okay. So, sabi ko sa iyo kanina, kahit mahaba itong problem na to, ang madadagdag lang na konsepto sa dito isa lang. Okay, huwag kang ma-overwhelm sa problem na to kasi ito binigay na sa board examination. Siguro mga tatlong beses na ang frequency niya. At pag binibigay ito sa exam, laging magkakabit. Yang 8 yan, binibigay lahat. Okay. So, yan. So, let's now read the problem first. This was given in auditing problems. Okay? So, ang sabi dyan, On January 1, ABC acquired 20% interest for 1 million at a price that did not result to goodwill. The carrying amount of identifiable assets and liabilities of XYZ approximate their fair values. Information are as follows. Asset liable, cumulative preference shares, 2 million, ordinary, retained, total equity. ABC holds none of the cumulative preference shares of XYZ. No dividends were in arrears. In X1, XYZ reported profit of 1N and paid dividends, no dividends. Paid no dividends. In X2, XYZ reported profit of 1 million and paid 2-year dividends. The cumulative preference shares and paid 200 dividends on ordinary shares. Okay, isa-isahin natin. Dissect natin to, class. Dissect natin, then gamitan natin ng concept to answer this. Okay. Requirement number, letter A, is to compute for the carrying amount of the investment January 1, 20X1. Again, the requirement is just to determine the carrying amount of the investment January 1, 20X1. And the date of transaction is January 1, 20X1. Therefore, the requirement in item A is just the initial measurement of the investment in associate. And the initial measurement of the investment in associate is just the acquisition cost, which is what? 1 million pesos. Yan na yung sagot. So, ang tinanong sa board exam, alam mo ba kung anong initial measurement ng investment in associate? Yun lang yung si letter A. This is for January 1, 20X1. Oh. Ganun lang. Hindi lahat ng tanong sa board exam ay malalim. May mga ganitong tanong. Pero baka magkamali ka dyan pag ang thinking mo, ganito na. Board exam ba to? Ganito ba yun? Yun lang ba yun? Baka hindi. Oh, pag ganyan ka na, nag-overthink ka na. Okay? Pag ganyan, class, ay tigil-tigilan mo pag-overthink. Yun na nga, binibigyan ka na nga ng bonus item. Okay? Initial measurement is at acquisition cost. So that is 1 million pesos. Answer in item 1. Let's now go to requirement B. What is the investor's interest in the residual equity of the investee January 1, 20X1? Again, investor's interest in the residual equity of the associate investee on January 1, 20X1. The residual equity, class, this would follow the residual equity theory. Ang residual equity theory, kung meron kang total stockholders equity, tanggalin mo muna yung preference stockholders equity, makukuha mo yung residue. Yung para kay ordinary, ito na yung residual equity mo. At tinatanong lang naman dyan, magkano daw ang share mo sa residual equity na yan? The total stockholders equity is 7 million pesos. This is 7 million. Okay? So tanggalin mo lang dyan sino? Si preference stockholders equity, which is what? Which is 2 million. So tanggalin mo lang naman dyan si 2 million. So ang residual equity mo ngayon ay 5 million. So 7 minus 2 million, that is 5 million. O magkano ang investor's interest in the residual equity? Diba 20% lang naman ang ownership mo sa kanya? So meaning this is the answer. So this is 5 million times 20%. That is now the investor's interest in the residual equity January 1, 20X1. Okay? So that is item B. Let's now go to item C. Si item C, ano ang tinatanong? Compute for the share in profit. Share in profit tayo. The net income reported. The net income reported by the entity is what? 20X1. In XYZ, reported profit of what? 1 million. So this is 1 million. Pero ingat ka, if you will multiply this straightforward to 20% ownership interest, baka magkamali ka. Why? There is the presence of preference shares. And the preference shares are cumulative. Kakatapos lang natin. At anong sabi natin? If that is cumulative, deduct 1-year dividend regardless of declaration. And the 1-year dividend is what? That is 2 million times 6%. So this is 2 million times 6%. This is what? This is 120,000. And the adjusted profit is what? The adjusted profit is 880,000 pesos. That is 1 million minus 120, 880 times the ownership interest of 20%. And this is now the answer. Share in net income for 20X1 of 880 times 20%. So this is 176,000. Okay, so this is for December 31, 20x1. Let's now go to letter D. What is the requirement for letter D? What is the carrying amount of the investment in associate? So let's provide the T account now for investment in associate. So this is your T account in investment in associate. Game. Sabi natin, the initial measurement is at cost. Okay? So investment in associate. Okay. So the initial measurement is at cost. We are asked to determine the invest in associate in 20x1. Investment in associate 20x1. Okay. So beginning natin, yun, yung kanina, 1 million pesos. Okay. Then we have the share in net income. The share in net income is 176,000 pesos. Okay. Then, X1, meron bang dineclare the dividends? No dividends were declared as of January 1. And X1, XYZ reported profit of 1M and paid no dividends. So, wala pala eh. So, meaning this is now the answer. So, this is 1 million plus 176,000 answer in 20x1. Carrying value. Next, let's go to item E. In item E, it says here that what is the investor's interest in the residual equity December 31? Oh, pareho lang dito yon. Pareho lang yung pag-compute natin. Kasi we are asked to determine the investor's interest in the residual equity. So ito kailangan natin. But for December 31 na. Ay, kung December 31 na, gumalaw na eh. Gumalaw na yung equity. Ang equity niya dati, 7 million, di ba? Beginning. O, ito yun. Ano ba ang nangyari ng 20x1? Di ba nag-report ng profit? The reported profit is 1 million. Ibig sabihin, madadagdagan to ng 1 million. Kasi tataas ang equity niya because of this profit. Tataas ang RE, di ba? Retained earnings. O, 1 million. O, yan na yun. So, meaning 8 million na siya ng 20x1, December 31, minus the preference na 2 million pa din naman, the residual equity is 6 million na. So 20% of that, that is 1.2, yan na yung sagot natin. That is now the investor's interest in the residual equity, 20x1. Okay? Let's now go to letter E, letter F. Ang sabi sa letter F, what is the share in profit in 20x2? O di ito na naman tayo, share in profit in 20x2 daw. So, ito siya. Share in profit in 20x2. Okay. What is the reported profit in 20x2? The reported profit in 20x2 is what? 1 million. Di ba? X2, XYZ reported profit of 1 million and paid 2-year dividends on cumulative preference shares and 200,000 on ordinary shares. O, the reported profit is 1 million. And the preference shares remains to be at cumulative. So, deduct 1-year dividend regardless of the duration. So, this is the adjusted profit times 20%. So, this is 176,000 for 20x2 still. Okay, that is letter F. Let's now go to letter G. What is the carrying amount of the investment in associate? So kunin natin to. Yung T account dito. Okay. But now, the beginning balance for letter G, this is letter G, and we're asked to determine this, 20x2. The beginning balance is the end of your 20x1, which is 1,176. Okay? Then you have the share in net income amounting to what? 176 in 20x2. Okay. Ayan. However, class, there was a declaration of dividends in 20x2. Ang sabi niya, in X2, XYZ reported profit of 1M and paid 2-year dividends on cumulative preference shares and 200,000 dividends on ordinary shares. Okay. Ganito ang konsepto. Bakit nabuhay ang investment in associate? Nabuhay ang investment in associate because of the ownership interest related to what? Preference or ordinary? Related to ordinary shares. So meaning the dividends, the share in dividends that you will account in the T account of your investment is in associate is only the dividends declared on ordinary shares. Ulit. Investment in associate existed because of the ownership interest related to the ordinary shares. So all the share in dividends that would affect your investment in associate is only the dividend that is being declared to ordinary shares, which is 200,000 times the percentage of ownership. So that should be 200,000 times 20%. Eh sir, di ba, yung declaration ng dividend sa preference share, eh nakaka-apekto din sa equity ni investee. Eh di ba sir, sabi natin kanina, all items that would affect the equity of the investee would also affect our investment in associate based on the percentage of ownership. Di ba dapat gumalaw din yun? Bakit natin ini-ignore dito sa T-account ng investment in associate at ina-account lang natin yung dividend na dineclare sa ordinary? Plus hindi. Pinansin natin yun. Saan? Dito. Sa pag-compute ng share in net income. The effect of the dividends related to preference shares was considered in computing for the share in net income depending on the classification of the preference shares. Okay? So, yun yun. So, here, the ending balance now is 1176 plus 176 minus 40,000. This is now the answer for letter G. Okay? Let's now move to item H. What is the investor's interest in the residual equity of associate on December 31, 20x2? So, this is now your item H. So, ang kukumpitin natin ito, investor's interest in the residual equity. However, this is for 20x2. Okay. Ingat ka dito. Maraming galawan to. Tingnan mo ha. Nung simula, dito ka tumingin sa taas, may 7 million ka. Ito yon. Nung 20x1, nag-report ka ng 1 million na net income. Diba? Si investee. Yan yon. O papunta tayo ng 20x2 kasi yun ang requirement. Nung 20x2, tingnan mo ito sa taas. Okay. Nung 20x2, nag-report na naman ng 1 million na profit. So madadagdagan na naman ang total stockholders equity natin ng 1 million. Okay? Pero mababawasan siya ng dividend kasi nag-declare siya ng dividends. Nag-declare siya ng dividends na 2 years kay preference shares. Ang 2 years niyan ay 240,000 kasi ang 1 year 120. 2 million times 6%, that is 120 times 2 years, 240,000. So bawas ang equity niya ng 240,000. At nag-declare din siya ng 200,000 dividends sa ordinary shares. So this is now 200,000 minus 200,000. Ito na ang equity niya ng December 31, 20 x2. Yan na yun, 8,560. At ang preference stockholders equity niya remains to be at 2 million pesos. Ito na yun. So ang residual equity niya, 6,560 times 20% ownership interest. So this is now the investor's interest in the residual equity, December 31, 20 x2. Yan ang sagot sa letter H. Pero sa board exam, sir, ganyan ba yung gagawin namin? Class, ang bago lang dito, si investor's interest in the residual equity. Kanina pa natin kinocompute yung share in net income at saka yung carrying value ng investment. Eto ba sir, kinocompute pa yung investor's interest in the residual equity? Class, hindi na. Concept tayo. Okay? Ang concept dyan, ganito. Kailan ba magiging equal ang carrying value ng investment in associate sa investor's interest in the residual equity. Kailan ba yan magiging equal? Una, magiging equal yan at the time of acquisition of the investment. At acquisition date. Okay? Tingnan mo, class. At acquisition date, the carrying value of the investment is 1 million. Oh. So what is the investor's interest in January 1, 20X1? That is also 1 million. So no need to compute for this. Wala na yan. Hindi mo na kukumputin yan pag ganyan tinanong. Okay. Pangalawa, kailan pa? Kapag meron actual declaration ng dividends. Oh. Between 20X1 and 20X2, kailan ba nagkaroon ng actual declaration ng dividends? Nung 20X1, paid no dividends. Wala, di ba? In 20X2, yan, may declaration ng dividends. O, pansinin mo. What is the carrying value of your investment December 31, 20X2? Di ba? 1312. O, yun. Since merong actual declaration ng dividends ng 20X2, therefore, the investor's interest in the residual equity, that is also 1312. Ang takot ko kasi magkamali ka dito. Di ba ang haba ng tinakbo natin dyan? Baka magkamali ka pa. Gamitan mo na lang ng konsepto. The carrying value of the investment in associate would be the same as the investor's interest in the residual equity if there is an actual declaration of dividends. Kaya hindi mo na to dapat computing. Okay? Kailan yan hindi magkakapareho? Hindi yan magpapareho kapag walang actual declaration ng dividends. Just like in 20X1. Tingnan mo sa 20X1. The carrying value of your investment is 1176, di ba? Yan, 1176. Magkano investor's interest mo in the residual equity? 1, 2, hindi sila pareho. Does that mean, sir, na sa board exam, magko-compute na kami ng investor's interest in the residual equity after computing the carrying value of the investment? Kasi magkaiba silang sagot. Ang sagot pa rin, hindi pa din. Pag tinanong ka sa board exam, magkano ang investor's interest in the residual equity at na-compute mo na ang carrying value ng investment mo and there is no actual declaration of dividends, ito ang unang gagawin mo. Tingnan mo yung choices. Okay? Ang sagot doon, dapat mas mataas sa 1176. That is the first move. Eh sir, lahat ng choices, mas mataas sa 1176 eh. Would that mean, sir, magko-compute na kami? Hindi pa din. Bakit ba nagkaiba? Nagkaiba yan, class, kasi ang kino-compute mo dito is the total stockholders' equity, meaning this would be affected by the actual transactions that transpired in 20X1 that would affect the equity of the investee. Meaning, dun tayo nagkaiba. Why? This 120,000 pesos, when we computed the share in net income, we've deducted 120,000 pesos where in fact, there is no actual declaration of dividends. Since there is no actual declaration of dividends, okay, since there is no actual declaration of dividends, walang tumama sa stockholders' equity niya. Pero before you proceed, can you please compute what is the difference between 1.2 and 1176? Chat box, please. The difference between 1.2, that is 24,000. O, ganito yun, class. That 24,000 came from the difference in the treatment we've made here. Because there is no actual declaration of dividends, walang tumama sa stockholders' equity. Pero nagbawas tayo in computing for the share in net income. Therefore, dito nanggaling yun. So meaning, dito mo kukunin yung 20%. So that is 120,000 times 20%, that is what? That is the 24,000 difference that you are looking for. So, that would mean to compute the investor's interest in the residual equity, this will be a simple arithmetic as 1176 plus 24,000. That is now the investor's interest in the residual equity without resorting to the proper computation of this format in computing for the investor's interest in the residual equity. Therefore, hindi yan kino-compute yung investor's interest in the residual equity. Just use the concept behind on how to account the investor's interest in the residual equity. Okay, so this problem we're given 3 times in the board examination. And if this item is given, every time this item is given, all 8 questions are provided. So it is a must for you to go back with this problem and master the concept behind para pag binigay sa time mo, 8 yan 8 items yan, makukuha natin. Okay? So that would not sir. Sir, yung mga answers sa quizzes 1 and 2. Sige. Pa-load natin kay Miss Kat or Miss Janet. Okay? So, pre-boards, that is just a barometer or a tool on how much preparation ang gagawin mo, pero that would not bring you a license. Tandaan mo yan. Okay? Kaya, daanan lang natin. Okay? So, let's call it a day. See you next meeting. Good luck. Happy Sunday. Salamat.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you po.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Sir.
Thank you po.
Thank you po.
Thank you po.